Welcome back, YouTubers, to another End of the Week, Good and Bad of the Week podcast with us, the British Fist.
Good, Jim.
As you know, I'm Mr. Parkin. I'm wearing my England shirt. You guys can't see it, but I am wearing it, and I am now kissing the badge.
What?
This guy's here next to me, doing the jigs. It's NJ.
What's up?
Of course. And before we get to Turning Point 2011 for TNA, which we'll be doing this Sunday, we're going to give our thoughts on this week in WWE and TNA. But first, make sure you guys subscribe up above. Like this video and get any thoughts or comments on the shows or any news reports or anything like that in WWE or TNA or even, maybe even ROH down in that comment section below.
And right now, I'm pointing to the links where you can contact us in the description box below.
Exactly. Well, where better to start off with this week than the usual Monday night show, which is WWE Monday Night Raw. So we open up this week on Raw with John Cena. Now, in my opinion, this whole thing is just there to hype up the match at Survivor Series. We have Awesome Truth come out. Overall, I thought this segment was so-so, just because I can't buy Ryder coming out and saving the day for John Cena when Awesome Truth is involved there. I still think Awesome Truth should just be decimating John Cena so that we can feel that he needs The Rock as his tag team partner. So for me, this opener was so-so. It set up the main event, but I wasn't too sure of what they did in it.
Well, to be honest, after last week of Cena coming out on top, I really think that Awesome Truth needed their bring up over the top over Cena. So I think this, to be honest, having Ryder come out did bring it down a bit.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of openers, was it, for us? Especially as Ryder haters and John Cena haters in your case, and Awesome Truth lovers.
Yeah, that's very true, Dan.
We then have a match, Dolph Ziggler versus John Morrison. Now, this, for me, was a positive segment in the fact that we had a 13-minute match between Dolph Ziggler and John Morrison, two guys who we know can work a match. Ziggler was pretty dominant in this match. It's nice to see the US champ look dominant, but John Morrison got the pin, which kind of, in a way, kind of declined the segment for me because I was thinking, well, surely you want Dolph Ziggler looking strong going into the pay-per-view, but maybe, just maybe, they have something planned for John Morrison. Who knows?
I look at this, and for a while now, I've been seeing Dolph Ziggler needing to be someone that needs a push, because he is like US champion.
And he's been doing a lot of jobs as well.
That's very true. And I'm thinking, going to get John Morrison, who's done a lot of jobs, just like Ryder has, Ziggler has. I was thinking, to be honest, it was kind of appalling they made Morrison win. Especially
when we found out on the internet that Zack Ryder has been having a petition for the US Championship shot, and it looks like them two are going to be having a match at the pay-per-view now. You just think to yourself, where was the interaction between the two? Ryder's in main events while Ziggler's doing a job. I mean, come on.
I really thought this match was good as a match, but the result just didn't add up to the way it should.
Yeah, I still think overall, though, it was a good segment. This is probably one of the more enjoyable segments of the night, in my opinion, on a pretty much bad Raw.
I agree, yes.
We had the announcement of a 10-man tag, Team Orton versus Team Barrett. We'll get more onto that in our SmackDown bit, but it's nice that we get a 5-on-5, if there wasn't too much detail. But the whole of SmackDown centered around this, so I can't complain too much about it. The announcement's a good thing for me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It needed to be announced because we need matches getting announced before the pay-per-view, so it's good.
Definitely. A Survivor Series match is needed. Hopefully they can do another one, who knows, with the talent roster they have. Mason Ryan versus JTG. Now, this for me was... I don't mind Mason Ryan being on because he's a British guy. He's from Wales, so it's a bit stupid to have him in England because English people don't like Welsh. But overall, for me... this was just a bad segment. He got no reaction from the crowd, and it was just a jobber match. Did we really need this?
No, we have like Mason Ryan, who I personally thought was going to go somewhere, but the crowd is not with him, so it was a letdown. Going against JTG, he's done a good job as a jobber, so I think, to be honest, it did good for Mason Ryan to actually win. Yeah,
definitely so. So it's Mason Ryan winning to little reaction, which is kind of surprising in my opinion, but at the same time, doesn't really have too much personality. He doesn't really reach out to the crowd too much. He has that look, but that's really about it, isn't it?
That's about it for him, yeah.
We then move on to our main event. This, for me, was a so-so segment. We had Del Rio in a match against Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston does the job in 3 minutes to Del Rio. It makes Del Rio look strong. And then we have all this aftermath, which I thought was okay. There are some problems I had with it, but your thoughts on the match itself?
The match itself, all we know is that Kofi Kingston, when he's not in a tag team, his job is basically to job around and help other stars win matches look good. So I think for him to job for Del Rio was good, I thought.
Yeah, even though he's going to be in that 5-on-5, you need to make your champion look strong, I guess. We then have the whole promo thing afterwards where CM Punk comes out. You know, CM Punk pretty much owned Del Rio on the mic, and I think I have a theory about this. I was talking to you about this earlier. CM Punk is a guy which Vince McMahon cannot take credit for. Whereas Alberto Del Rio is a guy Vince McMahon can take credit for, and we all know Vince McMahon likes to push guys like Del Rio who he can take credit for. And I think the reason why Del Rio got buried on the mic was because Punk, that's a little bit of shoot in my opinion, the fact that Punk said all these stuff about Del Rio, the fact that he's one-dimensional. It kind of buried him on the mic, but at least Del Rio tried to get heel heat by saying, all these fans were ugly and stuff. So it was so-so in that sense. I had a couple of problems with it, but it was decent. So I say the segment was so-so in my opinion.
Well, I think the WWE are letting Punk do basically what he wants because they need him just because of how talented he is. I think for him to say what he needs to against Del Rio was good. It actually gave their feud of their match going up to Survivor Series a good movement, I thought.
The promo dragging on a bit long didn't really help, but at least they attacked each other and there was some kind of tension between the two, hyping up to their match at Survivor Series. Not really looking forward to this match too much just because we've seen it on free TV a couple of times, but overall this segment was so-so in my opinion.
I agree. It was just there to give them their push towards their match at Survivor Series.
Yeah. Jack Swagger versus Santino. My God, this was a shit segment. Just followed on from last week with the whole Muppets thing. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. Jack Swagger is in that 5-on-5, so I guess this makes him look strong, but it's just like, is this really needed? Really?
Well, Swagger needed a win over Santino, so I think, to be honest, now he's got his payback. It's gave Swagger the push towards Survivor Series, but the match just wasn't exciting for the show.
No, it really wasn't at all. Thank you very much that it was short, and this finally, little mini feud can finally fucking end. Diva stuff. The Diva segment, my God. In the Diva segment, we have basically Kelly coming out and advertising the fact that she is on the cover of Maxim with Jerry Lawler. And then we have Divas of Doom interrupt. And when I'm thinking, oh great, here we go. But the segment was just brought so much downhill by just the way they've done this segment.
Another week in a row, we've had Divas of Doom come out and we have high hopes for them to do so good in that segment. Yeah. But to be honest, it all came on the face coming on top again, so it really took away anything that could have happened from the Divas of Doom. I
mean, it was a unique way of going about a Diva segment, but I asked this, isn't Eve Torres the #1 contender? Why are they doing a thing devoted to Kelly when Eve is the #1 contender? There's all sorts of little issues with that, and this whole segment for me was just bad. I just didn't like it. It just didn't hype me up for a Divas match.
For a while now, I've hoped to see good come from Divas of Doom, and just on Raw, it did no better for them, so I don't really care.
And this is why we employ the Tea Time segment, guys, because they make the Divas matches entertaining.
Very true, dude.
We then have a segment with Kevin Nash. We have Johnny Ace introducing Kevin Nash. Give your thoughts on this segment. Did you like it or not?
It was quick, because obviously I don't think Kevin Nash is really good at being a talker on mic.
He doesn't read scripts, basically.
Yeah. No, but again, as Ricky had his point across to Triple H, how to end the game. To be honest, I don't really find that entertaining.
If it's going to happen at Survivor Series, then I think this was needed to sort of keep the momentum going. But as far as I know, this isn't happening at Survivor Series. It's going to be most likely happening at TLC. So for me, the segment was kind of so-so in the fact that Nash got his point across, but not as good as I thought he would. So the so-so segment again. And I think there's a lot of so-so and bad segments on tonight's Raw. There wasn't really too many good segments, and this is what really downgraded Raw for me.
I agree, but at the same time, if they are having this Triple H versus Nash in the near future, I think this was a good segment. But if not, then I think they've used a good segment at the wrong time.
Definitely. They could have given other segments more time, ones that are related to the pay-per-view, but we'll get on to now the main event, which was John Cena and Zack Ryder versus Awesome Truth. I still don't understand why Zack Ryder's... I mean, I can understand now, Ryder is over, and I don't like saying this, but he is over with the fans. And I still don't feel he deserves a spot in this main event. Why?
I think it's just basically for the fans to actually see him appear on the show, do something effective on the show, which is team up with Cena, but I just didn't like it.
The match itself wasn't badly worked. It's just that we know Ryder's getting a US title shot against Ziggler at some point. And also, the way this match ended, with Awesome Truth having to double team on Cena and hold his leg down to get the pin, it was just so unimpactful. They need to be beating on this guy, making it seem like he needs the Rock, and they're just not booking him well enough.
I think, to be honest, the way they finished it, in my opinion, was good because it is a cheaty way for heels to win. The only thing I would have added on to this is after the match, I would have had a beat down just to add more of a stronger impact for Awesome Truth.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't the strongest way of finishing Raw, so I'm going to give it a bit of a negative segment, in my opinion.
Yeah, we have different opinions, but again, the right people won, I thought.
Oh yeah, the right people definitely won. Yeah, I just still don't feel they're being booked strong enough. That's just my opinion generally. Any more thoughts on this edition of Raw before we go on to TNA?
No, I just thought Raw could have done better.
Definitely so. Raw could definitely have done better, but we'll go more into that on our overall thoughts. And now we'll move on to TNA, the go-home show before Turning Point 2011. So this is TNA's Go Home show for Turning Point 2011, and what better way to open up the show than with Bobby Roode? As we, after what happened last week, the heel turn, we kind of needed to hear from him. This was good for me. This was a good opening segment because we hear his explanation. We see James Storm coming down, he wants to fight, and it sets up the main event. So overall for me, this was definitely a very good way to open the show.
You had the two people that are going to be in the main event talking to each other, having their say, and I thought that was good because it was needed to hype up the main event. So I'd say, to be honest, this was a good effective opener.
Yeah, I'd like to have heard Rude's explanation a little longer, but the footage of Storm in the back was something different. It added a little bit more to the feud and stuff. So Sting makes the rematch for them two tonight. So overall, yeah, I'd say it was a positive segment.
Same here.
We then have a nice video package hyping up the Crimson Morgan match. They hyped it up well, I feel, in the fact that they made it seem like it was a big deal. They made it seem like this was one of those big drawing matches.
When you look at it, I think, to be honest, after the whole Samoa Joe thing, these two continue feud afterwards. It's giving them something to do, TV time, and hopefully a good match.
Yeah, definitely so. And it's a feud I wouldn't mind seeing as long as maybe one of them turns heel. But we then get Crimson versus Pope in what was essentially... You know, I thought this match would go on a little bit longer, but I guess having Crimson squash the Pope in 2.5 minutes was probably maybe the right way to go to make Crimson look strong. I'd like to see them do a little bit more with Pope, but overall, I'm so-so with this segment just because Crimson got the win going, looking strong, but there was no Matt Morgan. I was thinking that kind of let it down a little bit.
After the talk we had before the match, talk about how these two need to start having their appearances and building up themselves to their match. It would have been good if Matt Morgan did make an appearance, either during the match or after the match. After the match,
or a stare down or something like that. Just something simple.
It was needed.
It would have been good. Gunner versus Garrett Bischoff. I'll say this. They've been hyping this up since the Impact after Bound for Glory, and this was supposed to be the payoff, and it ended in about a minute with a DQ. It's like, that's... Wow. It's like, especially on your go-home show where you're supposed to be hyping up for your pay-per-view. You have a payoff to a match which you've been hyping up using TV time, which you needed to hype up for your pay-per-view. This is one of the reasons why TNA's pay-per-views are always thrown under the fucking bus, because they do shit like this on free TV that has nothing to do with the pay-per-view on a go-home show.
That was much quite horrible because, to be honest, Gunner, I was expecting more from Gunner. Garrett came across a bit strong over Gunner, but to be honest, the way it ended, it was too soon, and to be honest, I just didn't have much interest in this.
To be honest, the one positive I'd say from this is it was short, and hopefully this is over, because I'm fed up of seeing this on TV now. It's just stupid. They hid Garrett Bischoff's greenness pretty well, but does this mean now that Sting can rewrite Bischoff's contract, and this was the payoff, and it's just like, it's disappointing, even if we didn't really want to see this.
Sadly, the way the match ended, I think they're going to continue, maybe have some sort of match to drag this on.
So for me, overall, it's a... Sorry, it just sucked. We then have an X Division match. Zema Ion, who got no intro, versus Jesse Sorensen. There's sort of a couple of bits in this. We have the match first, which went 2 minutes. It was all right. I didn't find that. The match was short. Jesse Sorensen got the win to look strong. And then we had the post-match, which was decent. Your thoughts on the match and the post-match?
The match, I do expect a good thing from X Division, but Jesse Sorensen, I think he's still not quite there for my interest. But again, the aftermath was more the thing that stood out.
Yeah, we had Kid Cash coming out and getting in Jesse Sorensen's face. I do like the way that Kid Cash is sort of acting as this bully heel, this veteran. He has a contract in his hand, triple threat X Division match at Turning Point. So we had a nice match. We had a nice after segment hyping the match, and we had Austin Aries coming out and beating on Sorensen. So for me, I say this is a positive segment overall.
I think for Jesse Sorensen to actually get the beating that he did and have Kid Cash announcing the triple threat, I think it was nicely done because you had the guy who's just coming into the X Division thing, having his beat down, showing that he's not actually quite there. The two bigger guys taking him down. I thought it was nicely done.
It was a well structured because you had a match, promo, the announcement of a match. It did a lot of stuff which you kind of needed to because we hadn't really had much hype for this beforehand. So for me, it was a positive segment. Next, we have a knockout tag team title match. Gail Kim and Madison Rayne, the new knockout tag champs versus Mickie James and Velvet Sky. What did you think to this in regards to hyping up to the Gail Kim versus Velvet match at the Turning Point pay-per-view?
Okay, with this, I did expect there to be a bit more action between Gail Kim and Velvet, maybe. But at the same time, I'm glad they keep themselves apart before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, definitely so. When Gail Kim and Mickie James were in the ring, it was good action. When Madison Rayne and Velvet were in the ring, it wasn't good action. But Gail Kim gets the win on Velvet Sky, and you really are seeing here that they really are booking Gail Kim quite strong. And overall, in my opinion, this was a so segment hyping up the Knockouts title match at Turning Point.
The only thing I had with it really is that it's good you're having a bit of in-ring time between Gail Kim and Velvet, but to be honest,
get the pin on Mickey.
Yes, I thought that was quite horrible because obviously Mickey James is not really a part of this anymore. She's out of the picture for a while, so I just didn't really like it that much.
Okay, then next we have the Jersey Shore shit. I think we know immediately what we're going to be giving this. This is a negative segment. Robbie E and Robbie T versus Eric Young and Ronnie. You know, the match, they did get high ratings on the last episode of Impact. I can see why they might have put this as the hour main event. It went 4 minutes. It wasn't necessarily a badly worked match. It's just that, why have this on the go-home show? We know there's a TV title match now for some random-ass reason. Now that Ronnie pins Robbie E, and I'm just glad this is fucking finally over. In one way, I'm happy because it's over, but in a natural way, I still think this is a waste of TV time, so overall, I'm going to give this a negative segment.
To be honest, all Eric Young segments I see as negative, but there are fans out there that think he's good, entertaining that, but having him here, again, I just really wanted this bit to be done over with.
Same here. We had the backstage segment as well with Mexican America and Ink brawling. We just don't care about this match. TNA haven't made us want to care about this match. This tag team title match just shows you how much this tag team was depleted. Another negative segment for me.
I'll agree, because to be honest, the tags, I do expect more from the tags, but there's not enough going, so to be honest, I don't really care about this segment either.
Yeah. And then we move on to a positive segment, would you say? AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels. It looks like, well, we'll first focus on the match first. I thought the match was very good. I enjoyed the match throughout. I think they did a lot. They did as much as they could in 7.5 minutes to make the match good, especially for a TV match.
Well, I do expect a good match between AJ and Christopher Daniels, just because the way they perform, the way they've had history together. Yeah. So I think, to be honest, the way they just fought, it was good. I enjoyed this match.
Overall, I thought this was a good segment. You've now moved Christopher Daniels on from AJ Styles with Rob Van Dam. You've set up that match at the pay-per-view now. You've had AJ Styles end the rivalry, thank God, winning clean. So the only issue I had with this was the fact they got this fighter guy on commentary, and they didn't really commentate too much on the match, and that was really disappointing for me. I know TNA can't control it, but for me it's a really disappointing aspect of the match. Still an overall good segment, I just have that one tiny complaint.
Yeah, I didn't quite... The commentating, again, it didn't drag too much away from the match, so I give it that, but it's just that I don't think that was needed.
Yeah, definitely so. We then move on to a 6-man tag match, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I love this match. Bully Ray, Jeff Jarrett, and Scott Steiner, Immortal versus Jeff Hardy, Anderson, and Abyss. Abyss was the mystery partner. We kind of knew that, but it was I thought this was a really, really exciting match. Abyss gets the pin on Steiner, keeping his push going. You've got Jarrett and Hardy development there too. It looks like the other four might be getting involved on the pay-per-view, and they are in that tag match. So for me, this was an overall very positive segment and a very good match.
I really enjoyed this because one, it's got my favourite wrestlers in, and two, the way they performed, the way they did it, the heels looking strong, the face getting their shots in, and I think it was just all nicely done, a match that I liked watching. Definitely
so. Again, all these guys are involved on the pay-per-view now, even if it is a little bit last minute, at least they're involved. Guys like Anderson and Bully Ray, Abyss, who really should be getting involved at pay-per-views.
Because to be honest, there is a match announced now for the pay-per-view, so to give these their push and the right movement towards their match at the pay-per-view, I think it was nicely done.
Bully Ray and Steiner versus Anderson and Abyss.
There we go.
There we go. A bit last minute, but there we go. We then get to our main event. Now, earlier on in the night, we had backstage segments where James Storm got attacked. Then James Storm was getting checked up, saying he was fine. He had a bloody face. I did like the way TNA did this. You know, it kind of helps James Storm's character, especially when he goes out into that main event and still tries to fight, but just can't.
I quite liked it because the way James Storm was, you could see how bloody he was, but he was still like, I'm fine, and then he dragged himself to the ring for this match.
Yeah, it's great character development for James Storm. Like, this match didn't last long. The match ends when Bobby Roode, when James Storm cannot continue, and Roode pins him anyway. And then we have AJ Styles coming out and challenging Bobby Roode to a match at Turning Point. Now, while this is a little bit last minute, I really don't see what else TNA could have done here. So for me, overall, this was a positive segment in a sense, but there was also bits of it I didn't agree with.
The match, I think, we all knew that James Storm was injured anyway, so for him to get this bloody mess for the match and then unable to compete, good way to finish. The pin, I don't agree with, it weren't needed. AJ coming out and then ask for a match. Again, I like contenderships, if you know me. Yeah. But to be honest, again, with the only 1 week they're in before the pay-per-view, they needed to do something quickly, and I guess this is the best they could do.
I think this is probably the best they could do, personally. I do like the way now how at least they can sort of separate James Storm and Bobby Roode out so they will fight later on maybe, build up some tension between the two. I still think they should have done the heel turn a little bit slower, but at least now that James Storm is now injured, Bobby Roode is the champ, so they can kind of work on Bobby Roode's championship while having James Storm at a later date, which we might actually want to see when we really want to see him return and beat Bobby Roode, maybe.
Well, to be honest, after these 2 matches, the bottle shot and then this match, I think, to be honest, we need to see it done cleanly, a clean finish. So I look forward to the future of these two facing each other again.
Even if the TV matches, the title match on TV did sort of lower my interest a little bit, I still am interested in this, just not as much as I really should have been, because TNA could have booked this a lot better, in my opinion. Should we move on to SmackDown now, then?
Yeah, let's.
So SmackDown this week was pretty much focused on hyping up that 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series match between Team Orton and Team Barrett. So who better to open the show than Mr. Randy Orton, the team captain? He talks about his 5-on-5 match, and then we get Barrett interfering. This for me was quite a good segment to open the show. It gave us 2 matches, Barrett and Orton, good interaction there. Not sure about Christian, but still, Sheamus making a save was pretty good. I did enjoy that.
I like the whole way how they brought out Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett saying that he has a point to make across Orton, which we happened at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And then we had Christian come out, which I thought was stupid, because even though they need to hype him up in the match, but too much of one opener. And then Sheamus made the save, so I give a thumbs up for that.
Yeah, he came out in a neck brace as well. So yeah, they've got 2 matches out of it: Sheamus versus Christian and Orton versus Barrett in the main event. 2 matches we were very much looking forward to, so I guess this did its job as an opener. I thought it was a good segment, personally.
Same here now.
And then we get another good segment between Sheamus and Christian. The match happened straight after. This goes 10.5 minutes, and I just enjoyed this match. It was a good match, wasn't it? Whether or not this is leading to the end of their rivalry or anything like that, but we don't know. But it's, again, 2 guys going head-to-head in that 5-on-5, so for me it was a good match, a good way of maybe hyping up, and a good way of hyping up that match that I'm now kind of looking forward to.
Well, I don't really want to be saying this because of Christian, not really a fan of Christian's heel turn, but to be honest, this match and this feud has been really good as it's been replayed over and over again. But I'm hoping this is the end because they put on good fights as it is now. Yeah, they've
fought a lot of times now, so maybe they should move on, get Sheamus into that title picture maybe at some point, who really knows. But overall, I did think it was a good segment.
Same here.
We also had a backstage segment with Mark Henry and Daniel Bryan. Looks like that they were scheduled to have a match on WWE.com. One thing I didn't like about this segment was Daniel Bryan with the Divas, because that ruined his character. But the one thing I did like was the way Daniel Bryan just pushed Mark Henry and said, "I can beat you." I like that, and it hyped up the main event. So I guess for me this was a good just so segment.
Again, just like last week, they had the whole confrontation between the Money in the Bank and the World Heavyweight Champion. They continued it this week. I think they've made them both have positive stuff to say to each other, so it's definitely hyping up for them possible match.
Yeah. Video package for Zeke.
Unless they're going to do something that it weren't needed, but I look forward to seeing if it does do something.
Yeah. Ted DiBiase versus Jinder Mahal. Wow, was this filler or what? I did not like this too much. I just don't see what they're doing with Ted DiBiase. It looks like they're trying to build him up to something. The crowd were dead during this match. There was a lot of canned heat. I just wonder where this is going to go for DiBiase. I just didn't like this segment. It was just filler on just filler.
Well, Ted's not going to be anything to do at Survivor Series, but I think if they want to build Ted up, it should have been after Survivor Series. But again, Jinder Mahal's a jobber, and he did a good job pinning him.
Yeah, definitely. And we then had the main event. Well, we had the hour main event segment, which involved Mark Henry and Big Show. And before we just go on to the nitty-gritty, I just want to say this. I did think, along with you, I believe, that this segment was executed quite well. We go with the Mark Henry-Daniel Bryan match first. It went with 4 minutes. You had Big Show banned from ringside. Henry dominates a lot of the match, but you still have Daniel Bryan sort of standing up to him and saying, come on, give me your best. So that's good character development for Daniel Bryan, especially now he's the money event winner. At least he's getting on TV and is involved with main event guys.
First thing I want to say, without Big Show being there, I think it really helped Daniel Bryan look quite strong without having someone there by his side. Then you had Mark Henry looking strong because he needs to continue to strong going to the pay-per-view. And I think, to be honest, having Daniel Bryan stand up to Mark Henry is definitely giving him a push towards other main eventers.
Definitely so. We have Daniel Bryan fighting back with the chair. Henry still dominates, so at least you're allowing Daniel Bryan to get a couple of shots in there, but Henry still looks strong. He needs to look strong going into his match with Big Show. We then get Big Show coming out, and they have a sort of stare down. I must admit, I am very interested in this feud. Just the way they've done, the way they did this segment has got me very interested in it. You haven't made him touch too much. Big Show got on the mic and was talking about being, he's going to show Mark Henry what's impressive in the next segment. So
the thing I want to say is that first they had Mark Henry hit with Daniel Bryan with the chair. I thought, to be honest, you've done enough to Daniel Bryan. They should have finished it there. Big Show involvement, I guess that's giving them a push. I like that. And again, the next bit actually does help Big Show's movement towards Mark Henry at pay-per-view even more.
Yeah, because we have Big Show beating a couple of jobbers, didn't we? 3 jobbers in a match. It was like a fatal 4-way match, but 3-on-1. We were both discussing this, and we both thought it was a nice, unique way of getting Big Show looking strong on the show. I did enjoy this segment. It was just nice seeing Big Show just dominate 3 guys.
Yeah, because handicap matches like this, I miss them. When you put a handicap match against big guys, it actually shows their dominance, strength, and their movement towards whatever's coming from the future, just like this did.
Yeah, so again, this segment, the Mark Henry segment, both were positive. I did like the way they combined these segments. They gave them a lot of time, which is helping their rivalry going into Survivor Series. So for me, this thing was done very well. You've got Daniel Bryan featured on TV, again, your Money in the Bank winner, which is needed. You've got Mark Henry and Big Show both looking strong, and the rivalry is now more intense than ever. So I look forward to this match, and I think this has done a great job hyping it up.
For what they have coming up the pay-per-view and possibly the future with Daniel Bryan, I think they've done really good with this.
Yep. And then we get a Divas match. Tamina versus Alicia Fox. It wasn't exactly a great match. Who really cares?
My big question is, why is Natalya ringside and not Beth Phoenix?
Yeah. Who knows? She is the champion. You know, these two don't even have a match at Survivor Series. This segment was bad, in my opinion. I just wonder now if the amount of divas they're featuring on TV, whether they're going to have a Divas 5-on-5 or 4-on-4 or something, I don't really know. But this segment was just bad. Didn't enjoy it too much. I
think there should be a 5-on-5, or at least 4-on-4, just something, just have a match, just so they have some involvement, and so just what's been happening the last few weeks has some importance.
Do you think that means we'll have 2 Divas matches at Survivor Series? We've got Eve versus Beth Phoenix, and then the 4-on-4 maybe?
Yeah, I think there'll be about 4-on-4, yeah. So 2 matches, something different, but go for it.
Ooh, 2 piss breaks. We have a backstage segment with Sheamus talking about his mean streak. Again, it's decent character development. It was short and sweet.
It was needed, because even though Sheamus already had his say earlier, a bit more, why not?
Yeah, definitely so. The Ginger Man, the Ginger baby face, developing his character. It's all good, brother, especially when he says that he's just having a laugh. We then have Hunico and Epico versus the Usos. Now, this to me was a very good segment, just because we've had the development of this sort of like Mexican-America version 2, but with Hunico, Epico, and now Primo. It's nice how they just brought Primo into this. They all have like the same, characteristics and stuff, so, could be good.
Yeah, I think having these all teaming up, again, it brings a big collection of tag teams involved in wrestling now. And to be honest, this faction here, as you see by the end of this match, there was more involvement with them.
Yeah, Hunico and Epico get the victory after 3 minutes. It was a decent match. We had a post-match beatdown with I like to call them Mexican-American version 2. That's pretty much what they are. It was good that the intertwining of the moves they used. There was no Sin Cara there, which is a bit weird, since he is in that 5-on-5, and that is the rivalry. But I guess it's nice that they're putting some effort into this faction here. So for me, this was a positive segment overall.
Again, the rest of SmackDown has been good, but this was interesting. It got me thinking, what's going to happen next? So again, this was a good segment for me.
Yep, and then we have the main event, Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett. A match which I would like to see at a pay-per-view, maybe even a Sheamus Wade Barrett match too. I'd love to see one of those 2 matches at a pay-per-view. This went 10 minutes, good main event, a good match between the 2. Wade Barrett picks up the win, keeping his push going, and also you've got more hype there, captain versus captain on the 5-on-5 in the pay-per-view.
And I do like the fact that the matches that needed good time got good time. You had the main event, which got a good amount of time for the 2 wrestlers that are the leaders of going to Survivor Series. Both of them had their events on the other one. So to be honest, I really like this match, and it's making Wade Barrett look strong, which he should have done when he first joined SmackDown.
Yeah, definitely so. So it's good hype for the pay-per-view, a very good match. A lot of the main segments that we liked got a lot of time, which is good. So that was a nice. SmackDown really flowed a lot better because they gave a lot of time to segments, and they've hyped up a lot of that 5-on-5 match. Any more thoughts now before we go on to overall thoughts?
No, I really think they've done well with building up Survivor Series on this SmackDown.
The only bad thing for me was that there was no Cody Rhodes, but that's just some remark. But there we go. Move on to overall thoughts?
He could have been fitted in, but yeah, we'll move on now.
Indeed. So we've gone through the segments that we liked, disliked, and the ones we thought were average. But I'm going to ask you this, NJ, like I do every week. In order, Raw, SmackDown, TNA, which was the best show, second best, third best for you?
Okay, we had SmackDown, which had good hype for the build-up for their Survivor Series. Yeah. TNA, which, again, it gave us warning what's going to happen next, so that will come second. Raw, it showed some good things, but not enough for me to put it anywhere higher than third.
Yeah, there was one good segment on there and a couple of so-so segments. The rest of it was pretty bad on Raw. So Raw definitely is the bottom show for me. TNA put on a decent going show. There were a lot of segments there that I did enjoy, but there was also a couple of segments there I didn't enjoy at all. But the best show of the week for me has got to be SmackDown. The way they've done that show, they've only got SmackDown guys on there. The way they've hyped up that Survivor Series match, and they had other good segments in there too, like the tag team match, the Mark Henry Big Show stuff with Daniel Bryan getting on TV. For me, the show is just a lot more logical and well done, and it really does show how simple booking can really help a show like SmackDown. Definitely the best show of the week.
As much as we're giving SmackDown praise, I'm hoping once they've wrapped up this whole Raw mess with John Laurinaitis and all these feuds going all over the option, I'm hoping Raw can get back up to where it was before.
It has been very bad recently, so I do hope the same thing. Guys, make sure you check out Turning Point 2011. We're going to be doing a review of that on Sunday, but SmackDown this week was definitely the better show. If you guys have any comments on SmackDown, Raw, TNA, or any news topics or anything to do with wrestling for this week, get them in that comment section below. And NJ, do you have any final thoughts on this video before you lead us out?
No, my final thoughts are thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed our podcast. And all I can say now from the British Fist, which is Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. Goodbye.